We've had a number of comments on the pen forum about people who are wanting to make polygon pens, like this one here, which is has 6 sides, and then the gouache pattern was put in the middle of one of the flats on each side and filled with some green glitter, which makes a pretty nice and different looking pen. Here's a similar one done in can't remember what kind of wood that is anyway, and then this one's filled with inlays, which of course you could use as well as glitter and epoxy. Now, just to make a plain standard pen blank like this one here, it gives you another kind of a shape and pattern that most people are not able to do unless they have an expensive machine for that purpose. And of course the Pen Wizard isn't very expensive, so that's naturally a better way to go. Now, what we've been doing in the past is taking a great big old router bit like this, and of course this won't fit in a Dremel tool, but it will fit in a Fordham. And so we've done it with a Fordham tool, and we've had the router bit come down right on top of the blank like this, and cut the flat that way. But I found myself that it was not a real satisfactory cut we got, because it seemed to want to chatter some, and then when you were done you got a really rough cut. So we tried to come up with a better way to do that, and I found that you can do it much easier and use the Dremel tool, because you don't really need a big bit at all. And you'll see what I've done here is I've taken the Dremel tool and I put the 1/8 inch bit in here, and it's coming down beside the pen blank instead of on top of it. And that really works well. You don't have to take a very big cut. It's a real easy cut, and it gives you a nice smooth surface when you're done. So I've got one already cut, or a couple of them already cut on here, and I'm going to cut some more so you can see how that works. One other thing I want to mention before we start this cut is you want to make sure that your mandrel is real nice and tight in here and won't rotate even a little bit while you're moving the cutter back and forth. So of course I've taken one gear off over here already. This gear would normally be on here, but I've taken this one off so that when I turn the crank it does not operate the gear train, and everything works the way it should. But in order to make this even more secure so that it won't wiggle, I've left the gouache attachment on, and then I take this one gear here, and which is normally disengaged, and I slide it over so that it's engaged as well in the one that's below it, and that just locks it right up so it can't move. So that gives you a surefire way of holding this nice and tight. Might also notice here, while we're talking about it and looking at this stuff here, I've taken some color coding dots that are available at your Staples or local office supply store, and I've placed these dots around here at strategic locations on my index, and that helps me a lot so that I don't lose count and get them mixed up. I noticed that also on the Pen Turners forum, someone has come up with a nice little paper deal that you can put on here with cement, and I think they have it so you can print it right out on your printer and then glue it right onto that index, so that it will help you a lot to keeping your place as you turn these things. Okay, I've got this cutter is down, and I'm making a 8-sided pen. So that means that I want to operate, I want to go 3 clicks on my index. 1, 2, 3, and I'll make a cut across there. And you can see how nice and smooth that works. Doesn't tend to chatter or anything. And makes your flat just the way it should. Now when you get over to the other side, of course you can't lift up your cutter to go back, so what we do, I just leave it running and just go right back again. And that smooths it up a bit more. So when you're done with making your pass back and forth, you've got a nice smooth flat on your blank. Now I'm going to make another one, another pass. 1, 2, and 3. Where are we here? 3. And just do it again. This is Macassar ebony that I'm turning here, or I'm working. Another nice thing about making polygon pens, you don't have to turn them on the lathe first. This is just a round blank that's been bored, and I just slipped it right on the mandrel without doing any turning at all, and I'm making my, my flats. Now, once the flats are done, I will want to put it on the lathe, and of course, and turn down the ends so that you get little tapers on both ends so that it fits into the pen at the right diameter that you want. This one here I didn't fill, but I did put a wiggly pattern on each of the flats just to show that it's not too difficult to do, and it looks pretty good even when it's not filled. So that's the new way that we've just come up with to do flats and make polygon pens. And there's a couple other things I want to talk about, so we'll set up our equipment and move on to that.